Hi guys, happy Wednesday. Welcome to Write In Wednesday. I don't even know the name of this or what I'm doing. Where am I? Just kidding. I do know that mostly. Anyways, how are you guys doing? Pretty good here. I'm finished with Love and Decay season 1, and it's kind of like this really nice feeling of relief. It finished last Friday, but then I finally got the compilation bundle out yesterday, so now it really feels like it's done, and that is nice. It's just nice to move on and dive into The Relentless Warrior, which is the hardest book I've ever written. No, it's not really, but it has been difficult. It's just difficult to I don't know what it is. Well, I do know what it is, but I can't say it out loud. So, anyways, moving on. I have a bunch of questions, so I'm just gonna dive in. I'm super prepared for today. I definitely wrote them on the back of Stella's homework sheet that came home with her today. So, A+ mom right there. Anyways, Catherine asks, do I already know how Love and Decay will end, or does it just come eventually? And the truth is that I never know how any of my books will end. Well, I do. Okay, I do. I have this vague sense of the end scene of how I will finish the book. And that's true. I have A and I have Z in all my books. Most of the time. But how we get there is a different question. So I vaguely know how, I do know how Love and Decay will end. I know, the book won't be finished until, or the story won't be finished until we get to that point of, in the story. But getting there, I don't know where season 2 will go, basically. I know how it will start, and I know how to get to, the middle of season 2, but, after we get there, it's up in the air. And usually it's not that I'm so super unprepared, although a case could be made for that. But mostly it's no chapter is written exactly how I envision it. Dialogue pops up, or whatever, surprises in the storyline. And so it's walking down a dark road with a flashlight, or driving down a dark road with that flashlight. It's I can see so far in front of me, and I know my end destination, but I can't see every mile to get there. That's so cheesy, but it's true. It's that's how I write. So I do have this vague idea of how it will end, and it is up for some interpretation. It might change, but I don't think so. I do have a very clear depiction of writing the end. This will have happened. Ta-da, the end. How we get there, totally different story. So we will see. Okay, the next question is from Johanna. Is that how you say it? Johanna? Sorry if I'm butchering your name. I'll say Johanna because I know a Johanna, and that makes it easy for me, but I do apologize if your name is wrong. She asks, will Starbright always revolve around Stella and Seth, or will it be like the Starcross series, in that the first 4 are about Eden and the last 3 are about different characters? And the 6 books that I have, or maybe it's 5 books that I have planned for Starbright, currently revolve around Stella. The Starbright series is pretty much her story, her and Seth's story. So all these books will be about her. I never intended the Starcross to branch out into these different characters and different points of view, but that happened anyways. And so I don't even think of, truthfully, I don't even think of the last 3 books that I've been writing, The Relentless Warrior, The Reluctant King, The Redeemable Prince. I don't even consider those part of the Starcross as a whole. When I think Starcross series, I think the first 4 books, Eden and Kieran's love story, and then these are the continuing saga, Anne of Green Gables. You have her in Green Gables, and then you have her at college, or whatever, being the teacher, and then you have the continuing saga that nobody has watched. Well, I haven't watched it. It's weird. She goes to Europe to track down Gil. It's very bizarre to me. I'm like, you don't have cell phones. How do you think you're gonna find him? He's on a battlefield. Anyways, sidetrack. Anyways, so Starbright will be all about Seth. If it finishes and with the Starcross, I'm like, oh, these characters need to resolve their story, then I will continue it in that way. But I don't foresee myself doing that because really, I don't know. I can't say. I don't like to make absolutes because I always break them. I always I'm never gonna do that, and then I always end up doing it, and so I don't like to give absolutes. But currently, Starbright is only playing around Stella and Seth. Does that make sense? I hope so. And then her second question is, when I was traveling around the world, did I go alone or with my husband? And the truth is neither of those things. Zach and I were not married until I got back from traveling, and although we were engaged for part of it. But the first time, well, I went to Peru in high school for a mission trip, but that was only like 2 weeks. And then in college, I spent a semester abroad, and that's when I was in Europe. I spent 3 months in Western Europe and 3 months in Romania and Eastern Europe, and I was with a group of students. There were 3 others besides me. There was another girl, like a 4th girl, who was just there for 2 months, and then it was a full 6-month trip, and there were 3 of us. I'm sorry, there were 3 others, 4 of us all together that we lived together the whole time. 2 other girls and 1 boy who was like our brother by the end of it. So yeah, we did all of our traveling together. We were in France, on the border of France and Switzerland, in Germany for 3 months, and then there was a transitional period where we were in where did we go? Hungary for a little bit, and then we were in Romania, and on the way back to France before we left, we spent another week in France, but then we were in Austria too. So I think that's everywhere, but mostly France and Romania. So, and then the next summer was after the hurricane, the tsunami. My phone was ringing and it distracted me. Sorry. It was after the tsunami in Southeast Asia, and that trip was a relief work trip where I hooked up with a organization out of Omaha that worked in India, and we set up a temporary thing over in Sri Lanka, and partnered with Habitat for Humanity, and we rebuilt houses after the tsunami destroyed the coast of Sri Lanka. So there were some really bad areas of Sri Lanka where you couldn't even live because everything was gone. So we were in a nicer, the city we were in, Gaul, was mostly unaffected, but then the coastal houses were all destroyed and flattened. So we worked mostly over there, or in that area, and yeah, with Habitat. And I flew over with another girl, Hillary, who was in my wedding. She was one of my very good friends, although we don't see each other very much anymore. But so I have never traveled alone, but I've done, not in huge groups either, but always with people, and always with Americans. We always hooked up with Americans on the other side, so we can at least speak, because I am not bilingual in any way. In fact, when you're over, whenever I was in a different country, the only language training I would ever have, which was Spanish, high school Spanish, would come back, and I was confusing. I would always speak Spanish instead of French, and I was a mess. I'm a mess overseas, that's the truth. But I love it. I miss traveling. I'm excited for Edinburgh. I'm going to Edinburgh this summer for book signing. And Zach is going with me, and we're going to travel around, and I cannot wait to get out of the country. Okay, then Arian asks, if I could do this all over again, would I change anything? Her next question I will answer first because it's easier. Why can't you guys access some of the links on my blogs, like some of the boy point of views. I have no idea. My blog is a giant mystery to me. I don't even know how to comment on it. I don't even know how to answer comments on my own blog. Like, that is how technologically backwards I am. So when anyone comments on it, I do read them, but I just have no idea how to answer. And the links, I have no idea. I don't even know. I'll ask my husband because he is smarter than me, and he runs a lot of things on my blog, like the technical side of it, so I will ask him. But I feel like you should. Some people have said, like, if they can't comment on my blog during a giveaway or something like that, they get on their phone, and my blog works better from their phone. So I don't know if that helps. I don't know. Like I said, I don't even know how to comment on it. Sorry. Back to your first question. I am basically like, okay, the question is, if I could do this all over again, what would I change? Or would I change anything? And probably I would start on day one. I would change everything over. I am like a walking what not to do story, and how to self-publish, how to write books. And that's not me being hard on myself. That is the truth. I have done everything backwards since day one. I would have published sooner. I definitely would have. My husband tried to get me to self-publish for a long time before I actually did, because I guess I didn't understand the indie market and where it was going. He saw it and I did not. I thought self-publishing was giving up. So I would have published sooner. I would have made Reckless free sooner. I would have hired an editor before I ever published. But that wasn't really my intention, wasn't to build a fan base online. It was to get publishers' attention, which how I thought I could do that without being edited. But I was kind of following the Amanda Hawking model, and I don't know if anyone ever read her books before they were published, but they were not edited at all. And I kept thinking, who can write like this? Me. I just don't happen to see my mistakes. My brain fixes them, even when I edit now. Let's see, what else would I do? I would have made friends in the indie community sooner. I was really intimidated as a first-time writer, and I didn't see the indie community. I saw a bunch of successful authors that intimidated me to death. And it wasn't until Shelley Crane reached out to me that I started to see them as people just like me, moms, wives. We're just trying to figure this out together. But I definitely would have reached out and made some friends sooner, because I went the whole, I think it was probably a year and a couple months before Shelley and I connected. And I did that. I mean, I just winged it. I didn't know what I was doing. I don't know. And I would still do things differently. I would have better deadlines. I would follow through with my deadlines. I wouldn't have gotten pregnant. Well, I can't help that. And I love my baby solo. But I would have, I don't know, I maybe wouldn't have tried to write Starbright while I was pregnant, because that was really, really challenging. And I don't think it was good for me. I would have jumped on blog tours sooner. I mean, I still haven't done a blog tour. So, yes, daily I think I should be doing this differently. I should change this. But as far as my stories go, no, I wouldn't have changed anything about any story. I am perfectly satisfied with how the Starcross ended. And even Starbright, I had a lot of issues, but it's a story that I wanted to tell. And I think it's slow. Like, people are like, well, I didn't like Starbright, but I love Sunburst. Well, Starbright's like the setup into the world. And I don't think, even now if I go back, would I change a part of it? No, I wouldn't. It needed to be told the way that it was told in order to set up for Sunburst and the rest of the series. So my stories are there. Every other part of this I would change. I would still change it. Like today, I would change some things. So yes, if you ever want to know what not to do, come to me. I will tell you. Do not do what I do. Do not follow my example. Find successful people. Do what they do. That's what I try to do. It just doesn't work for me. Okay, and then Amanda asked, would I ever write a point of view from Amory on how he felt after seeing Eden and Avalon together again after being separated? And honestly, that is a great question. I have never once thought about a point of view from him. No one has asked for one. Um, Someone did ask for something from him, but it was like they wanted like his and Phil's love story or something like that. So no, I have never thought to do that, but that's an awesome idea. Like seriously, that's a great um, insight into that world. So I'll think about it. I don't know when I will get it done because I have so many writing projects right now, but I really like that idea. I do want to write at some point, and my schedule is crazy right now, but at some point I want to write a prequel to the Star-Crossed, and I wanted to do this since day one of writing Reckless, was the parent story and how they fell in love and escaped the Citadel the first time. And I had kind of envisioned that as like a 3-book series. But I don't know when it's going to get done, so don't hold me to that. But, it's a different perspective, I guess, into the Star-Crossed. And then Colleen asked, what would I do if I lost my Kindle? First of all, Colleen, sorry for your loss. That is horrible, terrible, everything bad. Have you checked under the couch? Whenever our remotes go missing, they're always under the couch. Just a thought. But the truth is, I don't really use my Kindle, which is terrible. I use the Kindle app, but I rarely get concentrated time where I can just sit down and read, which I'm not trying to make myself sound super important, but with 4 kids, there just isn't a lot of like me time. And so I am always reading on my phone right here. And the screen is pretty big. Well, I was going to show it to you, but there's a bunch of stuff on there. I always read on my phone because it's the easiest to keep out of children's reach because it's small. And it works like anything. I don't know, I just always, and then like I'm always like reading whenever I get a moment. So like this at stoplights or in the grocery store line or whatever. And so my phone is always with me and my Kindle is not. So I always read on my phone. Like I have 3 different Kindles, and I only read on my phone, which is terrible. I should like give them to charity. But eventually I think I'll get back to reading on my Kindle. Just when I don't have a baby and a 2-year-old and little girls who they instantly see the Kindle, of course it's bright pink, the cases. They're like, oh, can we play all the games? And then I lose it anyways. So I just read on my phone. It's easier for me. And it's easier in bed because it's so small. Sometimes Kindles are so heavy, my get carpal tunnel. That is a really whiny complaint. But anyways, Melissa asked, tell us more about what is to come in the Siren series and when is the next one coming out. The fall is the next book in the Siren series, and it will be out right after The Relentless Warrior. I would really like to get it out this month, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think it'll be the very beginning of next month. The Relentless Warrior is closing down. Someone asked that question. Oh, Christine asked, when will The Relentless Warrior be out? And it will be out this month, I think. I hope. I pray. But, yeah, it should be out soon. And it's been a really hard story to write. And I'll probably reveal more after it comes out. Right now I'm pretty insecure about the storyline, so I don't want to give too much away and then have people say something and then doubt myself even more, because that would be pretty terrible in the fragile state of mind that I'm in. But it's just been a hard book to write, so, and mostly because I love Jericho so much. Like, I don't want you to think anything bad is happening in it, but he is probably my favorite character out of every character I've ever written. So I feel pressure to write this story, and that's one of the reasons it's taking so long. Anyways, so the fall will come out after that, but pretty soon here. And that book I don't think will be as hard. I hope not. I have pretty much the whole book plotted and planned in my head just from it taking so long for me to get to writing it. Unlike Sunburst and The Relentless Warrior, where I've been trying to write them for the past year, both of them I've been trying to like piece away at. The fall I've never gotten to sit down and take some time with, and but I really, really, really wanted to. And so I'm really excited to write the story. What is to come in it is like pretty much we're nose diving into the paranormal world. The Rush was so contemporary. I mean, there was like this undercurrent of paranormal, but you didn't get to it until like the very end. And it's briefly explained, and then you don't see any of the paranormal side of it. You just get an explanation, basically. But it's all very, very contemporary. Well, the fall is what makes it a paranormal romance. And so we go all the way into Greek mythology. You're going to get to see more of Nyx, and he is kind of the sea god, the god of the sea. I mean, it's a little more complicated than that, but that's basically his role in the Greek world. It's paralleled with our regular world. And then you're going to find out what Exy and Sloan are, and more of like how they connect with Ivy, who's the siren, but Exy is a nymph and Sloan is a muse. And then you're also going to get to meet the Fates are going to come into play, and there's more characters that are just kind of taken from all over Greek mythology. And then you're going to get to see some really paranormal pieces of that world. That's not just like, I think in The Rush she just says like, we're just exaggerating old stories. Well, of like, you know, it's like kings telling of the glory days or whatever. In The Rush, that's what she says, something along those lines. But in the fall, you get to see more of actual paranormal elements to their world, why they're gods and goddesses and that kind of thing. So I'm really excited for the fall. It's going to be a really fun book to write, and yeah, I hope you guys like it when it comes out. It's so different from The Rush. I mean, just as in like world building and things like that, but it's not usually how my books go. Like, I have a serious first book issue. Like, oh, it's so draggy and like, I don't know. Even Reckless Magic, I can't even read that book anymore. I'm like, oh, what is happening? But it takes me to the second book to really get my stride. Although the first books are necessary, I don't want to downplay their importance, but usually they start getting good after the second book. I say a lot. Jennifer asked, what is on my to-read list? This question. I have over 300 unread books on my Kindle. Like, 300. So I have like 300 to-read books. And I cut myself off from buying them because a lot of times I'll buy like friends' books or, you know, whatever, new releases, and I never get to them because I have so much going on. But I had to like cut myself off from buying them because I always want to buy it and show support or whatever. But my Kindle is insane. There's like 300 books on there that I haven't read, plus ones that I have read. So I cut myself off. I'm like, this is no way to live, buying books and never reading them, because I want to go back and read them, and I'll never go back and read the ones I bought if I keep like accumulating more books. It's just too overwhelming. But some of the books that I really want to read and haven't gotten a chance to, and I haven't even bought yet. Well, I bought The Fault in Our Stars, and that's being made into a movie, and people talk so highly of this book. And so I bought it, and it's like the synopsis almost had me in tears, so I've been putting it off. I'm not a very emotional creature. I don't like to cry. I don't like to be overwhelmed by emotion. And so it's hard for me to like some people, you're like, oh, I just need a good cry. Like, that is never me. I never need a good cry. So I kind of avoid emotion. Not that I'm a shallow person most of the time. But, yeah, so I've been avoiding it. I want to read it. Like, I really want to read it. But I haven't been able to make myself yet, if that makes sense. And then Sweet Peril, I think that's the next one. Wendy Higgins. I read Sweet Evil maybe 2 years ago. Has it been that long? It's been a while. Maybe a year and a half. I can't remember. But I love that story. And I am excited to... I couldn't have been 2 years ago. Anyways, it was a while ago. It was like, not last summer, but the summer before. Anyways, that's not important. I love the story, and I've been excited to read the second book that came out recently, but I haven't gotten a chance to. And but that's a really good book. Sweet Evil, you guys need to go check that out by Wendy Higgins. Super good. And then the other book that I'm dying to read and haven't is Endless Night, or Endless Nights, or Endless Night something, by Cressley Cole. What was the first book? Poison Princess was her first book in the series. It's young adult, and it is so fabulous. So good. And so I'm excited to read the second book in that series too, which came out I think in October, and I just haven't gotten a chance to read it yet. And then another book, Thief. I've been dying to read Thief by Karen Fisher. I love The Opportunist, and I loved Dirty Red. Only Dirty Red like messed me up emotionally, so I haven't been able to go back to Thief. It's another one of those I'm avoiding because I'm afraid I'll cry scenarios. But The Opportunist wasn't like that at all for me. It wasn't emotional. It was just like really like dark and very angsty, and it's a different take on a love story. And so I love that. Like, I love when people think outside of the box and just come up with something so purely unique and different. And Taryn definitely did that with The Opportunist. And then I sided, like, I had way too much sympathy for Leah in Dirty Red. Like, so much sympathy. That I was like heartbroken during that book. I just felt so bad for her, and I have a friend that read it, and she's like, "What? I hated her. Are you kidding me? I was so happy with how that book went." I was like, "No, I can't do it. My heart is breaking for her. Too much empathy. I feel too much, which is why I avoid emotion in the first place." So now Thief is Caleb's story, and I have not gone back to it, but I will, because the series is so good. I have to finish it out, figure out what happens. But and then Outlander is like a book that everyone talks about, and it was on sale recently, and I downloaded it. I did buy that one, but it was super cheap. I think it's like usually $8 or something like that. And I want to say I got it for $1.99 or 99 cents. I mean, it was super cheap, so I was like, oh, I'll get it. So it's on my to-read list just because everyone talks about it. And I want to see what it's about. I also have The Bronze Horseman for that same reason. It was super cheap one day, and everyone talks about it, so downloaded it real quick. But I don't know if I'll ever get to it. And then the book I started recently, which I'm like 10% in, is Sempre. And it was just re-released. I've heard amazing things about it, like over and over and over. I forget the author's name, which is terrible for me. I would feel bad if someone forgot my name, but sorry. I can't think of it. It was pulled by the publisher, I think, to edit maybe, and then put back for sale. But I've heard amazing things about it, so I downloaded it. It's a really interesting storyline so far, but I'm not that far into it, so, and I don't know when I'll get farther into it. But anyways, those are on my to-read list, and one day I'll get through all 300 of my books. By then I will have 300 more books on my Kindle, and what can you do? It's part of it because I know so many amazing authors. I just want to like read everything, and so here's my advice. If you want to be a writer but you love to read, decide which one you love more, because you will never get to read again once you start writing, ever, unless you take breaks for yourself, which I need to do more of, but I don't. Okay, and last question, and then I'm done. I've talked your ear off. Jennifer also asked, have my children inspired me to write a children's book? My daughter's preschool teacher actually was like just begging me at the beginning of the school, please write a children's book, please, because they want it for their classroom. But I don't know. It's hard for me to say if I'm truly inspired to write a children's book. As soon as Stella was born, I knew I was going to write a series dedicated to her, because I had already written Reckless Magic, and so even at that point, like, even if I was never published, I knew I was going to write Starbright. That idea was just there as soon as she was born. Actually, that's not true. I hadn't written Reckless Magic. I had written the first book I ever wrote, which will never be published, but then I ended up writing Reckless anyways, before Starbright. But that was always my plan, was to write a book for her. And then I started having more kids, and so I knew I couldn't just write one book series for my oldest child and then not write it for any of my other ones. So eventually my plan is to write a series, a young adult series for each of my children, inspired by their names, but not necessarily them as individuals, because how embarrassing would that be? But at least by their names. And so Scarlet and Striker and Solo will also get one. But I have no idea yet. I haven't developed those storylines at all. I have too many projects right now that I want to get to. But they will eventually all get a series. And then as far as the children's book goes, I have always wanted, but I don't think I can do it because of just who my second born is. But Scarlet is this, she has a huge personality. And she is the sweetest child you will ever meet. And she has the hottest temper of any person I know. An adult, children, it doesn't matter. She has the hottest temper. And so I have always pictured writing a children's book about this little girl, Scarlet, who gets mad about everything and throws big temper tantrums. And it's like this lesson in how to control your temper. But honestly, I don't think I could do that to her. I mean, how cruel would that be? She like grows up one day and she's like, "Thanks, Mom. Like, this is what you thought of me." And so I don't think I can. But I have always wanted to do that. I even had a storyboard once where I like mapped it out, the first book out. But it wasn't a very good idea, so I threw it away. But now with her, well, because when she was a baby, she was Scarlet, and she had a temper like you would not believe, even as a baby. And she had this bright red hair. I was like, oh my gosh, what did I do? But she has blonde hair now. So anyways, I'm not crying. I'm laughing. Tears are coming. I'm not emotional. I mean, I am emotional. I'm too emotional, but these are not tears. They're tears of joy. Anyways, thanks for all your questions. I'll do this again next week. I can handle one vlog, so hopefully I'll add another one in with giveaways and whatnot. And like with the Siren thing, I was doing a sneak preview Thursday, I think, or something like that. And I would like to keep that up too. Tell you what's to come in your favorite series or whatever. Hope you guys are having a good Wednesday, and we will talk later.